Someone just mentioned that not everybody understands what I'm talking about. Well, that's okay. As I said, you're getting a little exposure, a little whetting of the appetite. You know, perhaps piques your curiosity a little bit. Because I say these are things you can spend a lifetime studying and practicing, and I recommend it. And so please do. One of the things I tried to make clear this morning is that there are hidden connections among traditions and ways for them to interweave, which are sometimes almost like pieces of a puzzle fitting together. I think you saw that with the Kabbalah and with our Christian tradition, the Greek Church, etc. What I hope you'll see now is the connection with the Hindu tradition, the yoga meditation tradition, which as I say, I've also studied. I studied with a Filipino master for 8 years, following his initiation into this type of thing. So again, it's not just head knowledge. I am in these next 2 periods. I am going to actually lead you in meditation, which is one reason we're not starting with centering prayer this afternoon, which I know you usually do in your meetings, because we'll actually be doing some meditation in both of these sessions. Why did I get interested, or how did I get interested in the Kabbalah to begin with? It was through this Filipino master. His name was Master Choa Kok Sui. He was a Filipino, as I say, but he from Chinese ancestry. And from what I understand, he was raised with a Christian mother, Hindu father, so he was exposed to these traditions, but he very quickly showed, basically a religious genius. He was also a scientist, he was an engineer. So he's a man of the world in that sense, but he had a tremendous spiritual power. He founded the International Pranic Healing Movement. I put the website here, pranichealingusa.org. That was, using energy healing as your introduction into meditation. Why? Because he was concerned that people might just be kind of like an ego trip, the spiritual powers and spiritual energies. Whereas as soon as you are exposed to this, you see you're doing it for others. That this is, as all spirituality, it should issue in and also stem from compassion and concern for others. But then he taught us some of the, techniques of meditation. And one of the things that he was able to do, and I think this is one of his most brilliant contributions, certainly in my own life, is to collate the Sephiroth, what we talked about this morning, the energy centers of the Kabbalah with the energy centers of the Hindu tradition, the Chakras. Chakras, as many of you probably know, is a Sanskrit word which means wheel. It's the whirling energy center. They were actually whirling, energy centers in that way. And the book that most influenced me and showed me this was a book which is available on his website, I think still, a universal and Kabbalistic meditation on the Lord's Prayer. Now I'll come to that Lord's Prayer part in a minute. What I want to point out is here you have the Sephirotic tree, the tree that we were just talking about. But instead of the names of the Sephiroth which we went over today, you have the chakras, and including their colors. Now, those of you who've done any kind of chakra work, and you know that the lower chakras are generally red and orange, and then you go up towards more blue. Well, what does that sound like? We had red earth and blue and purple and up into the white, etc. So there again. Now, as I was remarking to someone a moment ago, there likely is not a geographical or historical connection between these two traditions, but this is the way the world is made. This is the way that we're constructed. So anybody, through deep work and inner discovery, can discover these things. They're real. So it's not at all surprising if you come to very similar conclusions working from two different strands, because we're dealing with what's real. This is a very important point for us Christians and for us Catholics to realize that we're talking about yoga, we're talking about all these now Eastern traditions, Buddhism, etc., and yoga, just the way the world is constructed. You know, to listen to some Christians, sometimes even bishops and priests, speak as though yoga is demonic. Or, I will never have that in my parish. It's not demonic. We have to get away from this notion that whatever is not explicitly Jesus is therefore demonic. Jesus himself said, whoever is not against us is for us. And if indeed we really believe, if we believe that Jesus is the King of the universe, Feast of Christ the King, and all things were created in him and for him, and in him all things subsist, well then these natural, the construction of reality is in him. It's totally Christian because it's all created in him and for him. It's just the way do you say a tree is demonic because it's not Christian? Or your breath is demonic because it's not Christian? No, in a sense it's all Christian because it's all created in him and for him, if we believe that as Christians. So all we're doing here is discovering or rediscovering or appropriating for ourselves what others have discovered about the way the universe is constructed. Whether we call this Sephirotic tree or the chakra system or whatever, this is us. And it's because we haven't had this, to go back to the problem of the West this morning, where we took our spiritual part is our mind and our soul and our will, our willpower, and maybe some creative grace thrown in there. And meanwhile, we have the body and nature and all that, which is to be, passion, terrible, especially for Romans, passion, no good. Stoicism and all that stuff. So, the way our anthropology in practice was taught us is that we had a spiritual part and a dangerous fallen part, and never the twain shall meet. If we'd had an anthropology like the Kabbalists or the Hindus with the chakra system and tried to work with our inner energy centers to integrate and harmonize and transform them, which is what yoga is all about. It's about transformation of energy. I'll come back to that in a minute, the Kundalini and all. We would have been so much happier because we would have discovered that all this is good and needs to be integrated and harmonized and enjoyed and transformed instead of fearing it. So the chakra system then can be collated with the Sephirotic system. And I'll show you where he made his particular contribution. Remember what I said, the top one here, the top of the head, is called crown in both traditions. Wow. In both traditions it's called the crown chakra, up on the top. He pointed out, this I just mentioned in passing, I won't try and discuss it. He mentioned that the 12th chakra, the incarnate soul, is actually above the head, about 12 inches, which explains, so the soul, the body's in the soul, not the soul in the body. All right? It's part of it creates the aura, energy auras around us too, the energy bodies, which I won't talk about too much, but they are there. That's the Pentecost fire, coming down in tongues of fire. Anyway, so you have the crown here. But on the left side we had wisdom and understanding. So this is what he calls the forehead chakra and then the Ajna chakra. One or the other is usually called the third eye. So the unifying vision. There actually are two, though, and he says that the third eye is actually the higher intuitive chakra, the forehead chakra. More often it's the Ajna chakra between the eyes here, which is designated as the third eye. In any case, it aligns that way. That wasn't as clear as that in the Kabbalistic tradition exactly where they were situated, but if you consider it that way, that's where they would be. Then you have the throat chakra, that da'at, that knowledge that I pointed out, saying there. Now here's where it gets interesting. For the Jews, the Hebrews, they didn't have quite developed a sense, it seems, of the inner organ chakras, etc. So for them, the mercy and strength, so we call them mercy and strength, I think, were the left and the right arm. Okay. More profound, I think, and this is where Master Choa's contribution is so good, is to see them as the heart and the solar plexus. The heart is mercy, solar plexus is strength, and that fits perfectly with the insight. So I think that's how you would align them. And then the next one is Tiferet, or beauty, which is the navel chakra. And that's where heaven and earth come together. That's where in the tower you have the 4 animals, by the way. It's very interesting that, the navel, is where the 2 worlds seem to meet, even proportionately in the body. So that would be the navel chakra. And then the next 2, which are eternity and glory, he collates with the spleen and what we call the Mengmei, or back navel chakra. So that's connected with some of the lower. And then the foundation, this one here, foundation is the sex chakra. And then the base chakra is the Malkuth, or kingdom. So once again, the things aligned with the spleen, and what he called the Mengmei, or rear navel chakra, were the legs in the Kabbalistic. So the arms and the legs were what they referred to, rather than the inner organs as they do in the chakra system. But I think Master Choa's presentation of that is actually more profound. It's a step. I think that's what the Kabbalah was getting at, trying to go more interior. So that's the way he collates them, and I think it's quite brilliant and works very well. So when I began to understand the Kabbalah in terms of the chakras, then they really began to come alive for me. And the interesting thing here in this book is that he takes either way. He goes through the meditation on the Lord's Prayer in both the chakra system and the Kabbalistic system, and shows how they can go together. It's a very beautiful book, and just this is the way I pray Our Father every day, and I use this every day, literally. So I'll just illustrate. This is the meditation. This isn't the meditation we're going to do, but I'll just illustrate very quickly, and you can't really see all the connections. But Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. When the 2 come together, earth and heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. This main. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. The main chakra associated with forgiveness. Lead us not into temptation, the sex chakra. And deliver us from evil, all under the base. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, which are the names of the Sephirotic trees. Thine is the kingdom, power, and glory. The names are right there, forever and ever. They come back up to the top again. So you can do a whole dance from God down to creation, to the kingdom, to the earth, and then up again, saying, Father. And that's also, what Kundalini is all about. Kundalini is the serpent, coiled at the base of the spine, often identified with sex energy, which is true, but it's not just sex energy. It's the whole material created energy, millions of years of evolution, all that power now being, was created first of all by God, but now being reassumed by God, brought up the spine, back to God, so that the whole of creation is transfigured, transformed, reunited with God in that one cyclic dance that we talked about in the first talk. I showed you the menorah before. Here's another little secret that you might not have gotten. Here's the central axis, which is the spine. And then you have all the different associations up there. Then you have the pearl of consciousness, and then the wings here of the spirit. What does that look like? Yeah, the medical symbol of Caduceus. So the medical symbol of healing is related to the chakras and to the spine here. That's what that symbolizes. The different chakras, intertwining up the double helix, with the pearl of consciousness here, up in the base of the crown chakra, in fact. And then, the wings of the spirit symbolizing, that spiritualization, the spiritual quality. So every time you see an EMS truck think of the chakras and think of the Kabbalah, because that's what that symbolizes. Which of course is healing when you do this whole process the way it's meant to be. Just a note on the pearl of consciousness, which is very interesting. It's the Mani and Om Mani Padme Om, if you know that phrase. The pearl, that's what it literally means, pearl, Mani in Sanskrit. And it's, according to him, lodged in the pineal gland, right in the center of the brain, behind the eyes and between the ears. You can access it with practice for really experience of bliss and connection. But remember I mentioned Descartes before? You know, he didn't really get how the body and soul fit together. He was really out. Well, he's French, what do you expect? But he said, and no one's really been able to figure this out. And remember, he's writing in the late 16th century, I believe. He said that the connection, that one point where the soul is connected to the body, is in the pineal gland. Where do you think he got that? From the esoteric tradition that I've been talking about all morning. Did he reveal that? I don't think he gave the credit where it was due, but that's where he got it. That's where consciousness, connects with the body in this tradition, this esoteric tradition. So even in French philosophy, you can find it. Anyway, that's the pearl of consciousness there. The blue pearl of consciousness, by the way. Blue is a symbol of enlightenment in the higher chakras, as we said already, purple and blue. When Krishna is depicted in Hindu art, what color is he? Blue, yes, blue. That's why. Blue is a symbol of enlightenment and spiritualization. Krishna was a manifestation of the divinities, very Trinitarian, if you look at it. Brahma, Krishna, or Vishnu, and the avatars, and then Shiva, which he does also speak about. So this is a wonderful program. I'm not equipped, I'm not certified to teach these techniques of meditation, which take years to get through anyway. So I'm not going to be presenting that. I will present another meditation in a moment. If you want to know more about Master Choa, actually, the last time I saw him in 2006 or 2007, he looked like he was only in his early 50s. He had already had perfectly white hair like Charlton Heston, in Moses. And it looked like he just seemed that he was ready to transition. Not sick, but just not made for this world anymore. And in fact, he died a few months after. But his organization still flourishes. I put the website here, pranichealingusa.org, if you want to check it out. I know these people, and I've been through, some of the training, and it can seem a little flaky sometimes to people, especially Catholics coming to look at it, because it talks about crystals and all this stuff. But it's serious. It is real, as I've experienced over the years. He would give us, first level of chakra, interplay and activation and expansion, and say, okay, do this for a year or do 2 years and then come back. Which is what I did. You can't go too fast, because if you're opening up, the energy portals to literally infinity. To an infinite source. And it takes a while to habituate your body and your emotions and to this much spiritual energy, and to expand and to the level of Christ, the universe, whatever you want to call it, the Buddha. It is a gradual process. You can get dizzy, and you can get what's called the Kundalini syndrome, which is when you get insomnia and all sorts of things because you're not ready for it. You've got to go very gradually into this, and it's very, very well worth it. But it is a gradual process. And he did point out the dangers of it. One of the explanations, by the way, in our own Catholic tradition, and this is something St. Teresa of Jesus points out, and ascetical theologians point out, the reason there sometimes are ecstasy and rapture in a certain mystical stage is literally because you can't stay in your body. Your body's not habituated to so much spiritual influx, and your kind of soul kind of flies out in what's called rapture or ecstasy, and then you can return to your body later. It seems like St. Paul has something like that when he speaks about going to the third heaven, whether in his body or out of it, I don't know. Remember he says to the Corinthians. That's the kind of thing we mean. So what this tradition tries to do is make that flaw unnecessary. In other words, gradually to habituate your bodies to this influx of spiritual energy such that you don't have to fly out. And besides, you leave your body every night into the astral realm when you dream.
What does St. Paul mean by third?
Well, look on your diagram. Does he mean Berea or does he mean Absolute? He means one of those higher levels up there. We're not quite sure exactly what he's referring to, but the first heaven would be what we see. Second heaven might be the angels, and the third might be the divine spark realm. That might be, if that was what he was referring to. But that's what. So that's the process through which this should occur, and you go through the various stages. What I am going to do, though, to lead you in meditation, is what he is actually available, on which I've led before. It's a very good one for us because it's very Christian in its content. It's called the Meditation on the Twin Hearts. What are the twin hearts? Well, it's talking about, if you will, the divine heart, our crown chakra, open to the divine, and our own human heart chakra. So the twin hearts are the divine influx and then the human heart connected. And it's a way of activating them and receiving what we call divine grace, the Holy Spirit, however you want to imagine, and asking for putting ourselves in the presence of God. And then the prayer that he uses as we do the meditation is the prayer of St. Francis. So there's no reason for you to be skeptical of this. It's very Christian in its content. It's just a matter of becoming aware of the fact that there are different energy openings that we have, energy activating loci or places in our being that can receive and transmit this energy, this grace of the Spirit, as we would call it. So I'm going to lead you in that. And if for any reason you're uncomfortable, then just do centering prayer or compose your grocery list or whatever you want to do. But I think you'll enjoy it and find it useful. Any questions or comments on what I said so far before we start?
Could you just spell the name of your master?
Oh yeah, okay, I'll write his name. You can use his initials, GMCKS, Grand Master Choa Kok Sui. His name is Choa, C-H-O-A, Kok, K-O-K, Sui, S-U-I. I guess you might know, is it a Chinese name? Is it a Filipino name?
It's Chinese.
Chinese, right? Yeah, Chinese, yeah. So Choa Kok Sui, and Grand Master. C-H-O-A, K-O-K, S-U-I. Three words.
That meditation, the twin heart meditation?
Yes. He cautions, he's very, very careful.
How did you call it? I'm sorry.
Because I met a woman who owned a restaurant in the Greenwich Village. Through a fellow priest friend, by the way. We all went to, and she was clairvoyant, and and then she's the one who introduced me to him.
Because she knew him, or
yes.
just his work?
No, she knew him. Yes. And then I and another priest at the time, started going to the sessions and got started on the way. Their center for pranic healing in this part of the country is in Lyndhurst, New Jersey. If you want to check that out, but I'm sure that's on the website. He does, as he says, he's very careful. He says persons below 18 shouldn't do this meditation because their bodies cannot withstand too much energy, spiritual energy, and they're plenty full of physical energy. I don't think there's anybody under 18 here. Heavy smokers he recommends because their chakras are a little too clogged with congestion. That's maybe a good reason to quit. Pregnant women, patients with heart ailments. I mean, you be your own judge. I don't think you're going to get like this huge influx of energy that's going to give you a heart attack. All right, but he's just careful. That's all. So again, you can judge for yourself as we go along. The whole thing will take about 20 minutes or at least to do this. So it'll be like a centering prayer session. Okay, any other questions or comments before we start? You can just, probably as you do for centering prayer, just sit, in a position of alertness and relaxation. So, you know the drill, where you're both alert and relaxed at the same time.
Can I turn the lights out? Would that be all right?
Yeah, I think it might, of course it's very bright outside, but if you want to, that can might make it, it's over there it's in the front.
I think they're here.
He also recommends doing a certain amount of physical exercises to limber up in the beginning. I don't know if you want to stand and do that, but I think you're used to meditation, so you've got a head start on that. He says relax. And we have an invocation for divine blessings. As St. Ignatius of Loyola says, it's always useful when you sit down to meditation to put yourself in the right context, the right mood, under the right protection. So he says, O divine supreme one, source and fountain of all life, we humbly invoke your divine protection, guidance, help, and illumination. With deep respect and love, we thank you for your divine blessing. And you relax. Recommends doing some slow, deep breathing to calm and open you up. He says, breathe out all negative feelings or disturbed or disturbing energies. Breathe in fresh, revitalizing energies, comforting emotions. Inhale fresh and revitalizing. Exhale diseased and used up. Inhale good health. And exhale your pains and discomforts. Inhale relaxing energies. Exhale stress and tension and fatigue. Inhale love and peace. Exhale feelings of hatred, irritation, resentment. Inhale calmness and confidence. Exhale fears and worries. Inhale happiness. finally, inhale kindness, exhale anger. We'll activate your heart chakra now. Press the center of your chest with the fingertips of one hand, left hand or right, so as to help you concentrate and focus on your heart. Breathe deeply several times. Smile inwardly in appreciation to your heart. Your heart chakra, energy center, as an angel. It's a being of divine love in you. Now recall the most pleasant feeling which you have experienced in your life. Some feeling of love, kindness, peace, and joy. Smile inwardly or outwardly as you re-experience those happy events. Take a few minutes to build it up within you. Place your hands, palms up and open, down on your thighs. Visualize a small planet Earth in front of you. Use pink light or whatever light of love and kindness to bless the earth from your heart chakra. Visualize the aura of the earth becoming light as you bless it. Savor and actualize each phrase. From your heart to the earth. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. The earth, the nations at war. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Families, countries. the light stream from your heart to the earth. Where there is doubt, faith, where there is despair, hope, where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console. To be understood as to understand. To be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And that it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Even as your heart now remains open, concentrate on the crown energy center, on the top of the head. Smile inwardly at it as you slowly inhale and exhale. Mentally say words of love and appreciation to it. For the crown chakra is an angel of divine love in you. Be still. Be aware. Wait for the response. Now imagine a brilliant white light flowing from the crown center and enveloping the small planet of Earth still in front of you. Bright light from the crown of your head to the planet Earth in front of you. From the center of the heart of God, let the entire earth be blessed with loving kindness. Let the entire earth be blessed with great joy, happiness, and divine peace. Let the entire earth be blessed with understanding, harmony, goodwill, and the will to good. So be it. Continue blessing the earth with the brilliant white light from the crown chakra. From the center of the heart of God, that all beings be filled with divine love and kindness. That all beings be filled with great joy, happiness, and divine peace. That all beings be filled with understanding, harmony, goodwill, and the will to good. With thanks, so be it. And finally, bless the planet with the energy from both centers at once. Let the light converge from both centers on the planet Earth. Smile inwardly at the small planet Earth in front of you. Continue blessing it. From the center of the heart of God, let the entire earth be blessed with loving kindness. Let the entire earth be blessed with great joy, happiness, and divine peace. The entire earth be blessed with understanding, harmony, goodwill, and the will to good. Now imagine a brilliant white star on top of the head. Inwardly smile at the bright star. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly. Be still and aware. Chant inwardly. Say the sacred words, either Om or Amen, several times, slowly. The two are very related. Om, Amen. there be deep interval between the ohms or amen. Keep concentrating on the brilliant star. Say the word 7 times if you can. So, with the interval. Take note of the experience you have as you do that. It's important to release the excess energy as we come out of the meditation. Put your palms at shoulder level, facing out. Direct the energy towards the earth still in front of you. Let the energy come out of your palms, the palm chakras, in fact. You may actually experience the tingling or an intensification of energy. Let all the excess energy you've acquired flow and bless the earth. Choose those you want especially to bless as it's inspired in you. And direct that loving light energy out from your palms to the world. Don't be afraid to let it go. Freely received, freely given. Death and life. Finally, as another way of exhaling the excess energy, ground yourself. Project blessings from the base of your spine and the soles of your feet towards the earth. You're sending energy into Mother Nature, to the planet, to the material world. Project blessings from the base of the spine and the soles of your feet toward the earth. Visualize spreading roots of light, 3 meters or 10 feet deep into the earth. Freely receive, freely give. You can make your own Thanksgiving prayer, which you should always do at the end of such meditation, giving thanks for the divine blessings received from God and His angels. According to your own religion, he says, or you may use this, O Divine Supreme One, we thank you for your great divine blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the protection, guidance, help, and illumination. Lower your hands if you haven't already. Slowly come back to the room, to your everyday awareness. He recommends eye rolls, neck rolls, arm rolls, upper body twists, hip rolls, stretching, knee bends. If you do feel like stretching in any kind of way, either standing or sitting, please do, to loosen up after energy concentration. be seated again when you're ready. We have 10 minutes or so to share the experience. If anyone would like to comment, or share your experience, or ask any questions that may have arisen either from my talk or from your meditation experience. Some of you may have experienced unusual, things you haven't really experienced before, so please feel free to share or ask any questions. Yeah. In what sense?
I don't know where I was, but it was all of a sudden I caught myself because otherwise I would have been on the floor, I think.
Yeah, because the energy flow can be disorienting and literally unbalancing. So you do have to be well rooted there. And don't be surprised if that kind of thing happens. As I said in my talk, if you're not used to this, you can even get dizzy or feel a little like congestion of energy. Very often beginners in this experience congestion in the sinuses or elsewhere, wherever there's emotional blockage that's still rooted in your body memory. That's the kind of thing you encounter and need to work through, either actually therapeutically with a therapist, or just allow the actual meditation work over a period of time to help you unblock that. Most people need both, but that kind of thing shouldn't surprise you either. One of the things you do encounter in this kind of work is where the blockages are. Remember, our emotions and our traumas are cradled and hidden in our bodies, remembered in our bodies, and we need to, it's part of the whole process of transformation and healing and redemption. That's what all that really means, salvation. Our bodies are saved, our memories, our passions, our traumas are healed gradually through the influx of what we call grace, the spirit, divine energy, whatever you want to call it. Uncreated energies through the influx of the spirit. Yes?
This may be totally unrelated, but just a thought that occurred to me when you started asking for questions. People like, you mentioned Teresa of Jesus and ecstasy and gave us some information about that. People like Francis of Assisi and Pio, who got stigma.
Yeah.
How does that all relate?
I'm not sure. I mean, well, first of all, it shows the bodily nature of divine energy and grace. It has even you might have noticed your energies passing through your palm chakras. I mean, all the images of the crucifixion, or Mary extending, Mary with the light and grace coming from her hands. In some images of Mary. It's the same kind of idea that the energy penetrates through. Now it's possible that the energy could be so concentrated it actually burn a hole. Actually, Master Choa speaks about that, not in this book, but elsewhere. That may be part of how it happens. It could be special grace. It's always intrigued me that it's only happened in the West. People have focused on the Passion of Christ more than on the resurrection, as we were saying about Eastern Western Church. It's one of the features of the differences. What exactly is causing it? There are lots of theories. Is it just kind of a special grace that's given? Probably. But it probably does have something to do with the concentration of energy that actually could burn a hole. But I'm not quite sure. But it indicates, it does illustrate, that there's a bodily component to our spiritual experience, and the body is very much a part of it. We should have known this already from the Incarnation. We Christians are supposed to be experts in joining body and spirit, because we worship a God who's in Jesus, who's God and man at the same time, more clearly than any other tradition. And yet we still didn't really learn how to integrate that bodily dimension, as I said earlier. Anything else? They're all both Franciscans too. Yes.
I've always had a problem imaging.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing a meditation like this, I feel that there's got to be a block to it because I really have a problem imaging.
Yeah, it's a technique, and it is beautiful and helpful. It can concretize, in a very moving way. Imagine like the world in front of you, like Julian Norwood spoke about the universe as a hazelnut in God's palm. That kind of delicacy and that kind of intimacy. But it is just a technique. You don't have to necessarily pink light. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. You know, it's just a device to help you. Yeah, so it's fluid. Yeah.
What if you try to practice this often and you fall asleep all the time?
Well, you won't fall asleep all the time. If you're falling asleep all the time when you're doing it, maybe you're doing it wrong, but I don't think so. It just means you need more sleep. Yeah, you can, as you know from centering prayer, you can usually fall asleep, especially after lunch or after dinner. But that's just the mind getting used to the fact of not being active. You know, when you're getting beyond your thoughts, the mind says, I'm not needed anymore. It must be sleepy time. And so you'll get used to that, though. Depends on your bodily and mental condition at the time, often, if you go to sleep or not. But that's just, that can happen. Yes?
Could we go back to something you said earlier about when you fall asleep? This is reminding me of it. We could move into an astral plane
that's one
in our
explanation.
dreams.
Yes. Now, I didn't go into this before, and you may find it a little flaky, but I think there's reality to it. If there are energy bodies that surround our physical body. They're not the same as our soul. They actually are, energy bodies, which perish with the body when the body dies. But that's a kind of like slightly expanded and different level of energy, tied generally to our emotions. The astral body is attached to our passions, emotions, which is why we dream with all sorts of strange things emotionally going on. But yeah, we leave in a sense, some of the soul leaves the body, the energy leaves the body and goes kind of a different realm. Experience. It's very mysterious, isn't it? Even though we do it 8 hours or whatever a night. And that, it can also explain the fact that sometimes if you wake up in the middle of the night or something, you actually can't move. It's because your soul isn't back yet. So it's not an incubus or something like that. So it's fascinating, really. A lot more of study needs to be put into that, I think. I have also worked with a Tibetan Buddhist, studied some of their meditation techniques, which are interesting. We'll talk more about it in the next session when we talk about Zen. But has anyone ever heard of Lama Surya Das? He's a good friend of mine. We got acquainted when we met at a meeting in California and discovered he was from Valley Stream. He went to Central High. Same time I was at Regis. Any other questions or comments about the meditation experience? Or yes?
Well, I had experience, maybe a little different with other people's experience. I felt like I could visualize the planet and everything, and then I felt like I was blocked, like I just couldn't. And then what the thought flashed into my head was, I was talking about my ex-daughter-in-law so nasty yesterday, that I have to resolve that.
That's true. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Exactly right. That's another reason this energy work is so good, because you discover not only the old blockages, but the new ones. That's why it says exhale, hatred, and irritation, and all that stuff, because it's going to get in the way. And you get a stronger sense through this type of work, how much you harm yourself by harboring it. That's why St. Paul says, be angry, but into you and take anger in you. Because it's poison, to yourself as well as to others. So another reason, you become more aware of how powerful and dangerous the stuff is when you actually go down and do this type of work. And you understand what salvation and redemption really mean. You're saved, literally, from this kind of stuff through the power of the Spirit. Anyone else? So if you can get the tapes or the CDs of Master Choa actually himself leading this meditation for yourself, and you might really like that if you're interested in redoing this on your own.
What would the name of that tape be?
Twin Hearts Meditation. Meditation on Twin Hearts. Yeah.